You're standing in the grocery aisle at Walmart, reaching for instant ramen, not knowing that recent investigations have revealed disturbing facts about certain brands, from petroleum-derived preservatives to rainforest destruction, from styrofoam chemicals leaching into your food to misleading Japanese authenticity claims. Your health and safety may be compromised. A study from Harvard School of Public Health found that women who ate instant noodles twice a week were 68% more likely to develop metabolic syndrome, putting them at higher risk of heart disease, diabetes, and stroke. And that's just the beginning of what these companies don't want you to know. That's why we conducted a full report to expose these ramen brands' manufacturing deceptions, dangerous ingredients, and misleading marketing to uncover everything they're hiding from you. Starting with the most popular deception of them all. Number 1. Maruchan. That iconic orange package sitting in every Walmart, Target, and grocery store across America. The Japanese name, the promise of authentic ramen flavor. You probably assume it comes from Japan. It doesn't. Maruchan hasn't been imported from Japan since 1977. Every single package sold in America is manufactured in factories in Irvine, California, Richmond, Virginia, and San Antonio, Texas. The parent company, Toyo Suisun, is Japanese, but the product you're eating is as American as apple pie. What makes this particularly deceptive is the branding. Maruchan literally means round and child in Japanese, designed to evoke warmth and authenticity. The packaging features Japanese characters. Everything about it screams imported Japanese cuisine. But you're eating noodles made in American factories using American ingredients and American manufacturing processes. Here's what's actually inside. The preservative TBHQ, or tertiary butyl hydroquinone, is a petroleum-derived chemical used to extend shelf life. A gastroenterologist at Massachusetts General Hospital used a pill camera to observe digestion and found that instant ramen with TBHQ remained undigested in the stomach for hours after consumption. The stomach had to work overtime, moving the noodles back and forth, struggling to break them down. The National Library of Medicine has linked TBHQ to tumors in rats, vision problems, liver enlargement, and neurotoxic effects. The FDA limits TBHQ to just 0.02% of food content because there's insufficient evidence to prove it's safe in greater quantities. If a chemical requires such strict limits due to unknown dangers, you have to wonder why it's in your food at all. A single serving of Maruchan Instant Lunch contains 1,190 milligrams of sodium. That's more than half the recommended daily intake in one cheap meal. Consume that regularly, and you're looking at hypertension, cardiovascular disease. The Baylor Heart and Vascular Hospital found that eating instant noodles 2 or more times a week was associated with cardiometabolic syndrome, which raises a person's likelihood of developing heart disease, diabetes, and stroke. Women are particularly affected due to biological differences in how they process these ingredients, including how BPA from packaging interacts with estrogen. The noodles are deep-fried in palm oil to achieve that quick-cook texture. Palm oil is approximately 20% of the ingredients in a packet of instant noodles. And Maruchan's approach to palm oil sourcing has raised environmental concerns similar to other instant noodle manufacturers linked to rainforest destruction. Every time you eat a pack of instant ramen, you're consuming oil from an industry that has devastated orangutan habitats across Indonesia. What makes it particularly insulting is that authentic Japanese ramen is a craft food. Fresh noodles, slow-simmered broths, quality ingredients. Maruchan took the name and the imagery and created a processed food product that bears almost no resemblance to real Japanese ramen. When I see Maruchan on the shelf now, I see American factory food dressed up in Japanese marketing. That's not something I'm paying for. Number 2. Nissin. Top ramen and cup noodles. 2 of the most recognized instant noodle brands in America, both made by Nissin. The company claims heritage as the inventor of instant ramen. And that's actually true. Momofuku Ando created the first instant noodles in Japan in 1958. But here's what they don't emphasize in their marketing. Nissin has been manufacturing in America since 1972. Their 2 U.S. factories are in Gardena, California and Lancaster, Pennsylvania. A third facility is being built in South Carolina. Nearly 60% of Nissin's product comes from the Lancaster plant alone. These aren't Japanese noodles. They're American factory products made by a Japanese-owned company. But the manufacturing location is the least of your concerns. Nissin has been criticized by environmental groups for using palm oil suppliers responsible for the destruction of rainforests, peatlands, and abuse of human and labor rights. A demonstration was held at Nissin Foods' U.S. headquarters on June 29, 2015. The Rainforest Action Network has repeatedly exposed Nissin's connection to illegal palm oil production in Indonesia's Loser ecosystem, the last home of Sumatran orangutans, elephants, tigers, and rhinos. In 2022 and 2023, investigations showed Nissin was sourcing palm oil from suppliers destroying protected wildlife reserves. The Rawa Singkil Wildlife Reserve, a nationally protected area in Indonesia, has been decimated by illegal palm oil production, linked to Nissin's supply chain. The company published a grievance list acknowledging these issues, but set a target of 2030 for achieving sustainable sourcing. That's 5 years from now, while rainforests continue to burn. Environmental groups have called this timeline unacceptable, noting that peer companies like Nestlé and Unilever set deforestation cutoff dates of December 31, 2015. The health concerns mirror every other instant ramen brand. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition found that women who consumed instant noodles 2 or more times per week were 68% more likely to develop metabolic syndrome, regardless of their overall diet or exercise habits. Harvard School of Public Health confirmed these findings, linking frequent instant noodle consumption to obesity, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and elevated blood sugar. The study analyzed over 10,000 South Korean adults and found the association was independent of other dietary factors. Cup noodles used styrofoam containers until 2024. Styrofoam contains expanded polystyrene, and within that is styrene, a chemical that when heated can seep into your food. The WHO classified styrene as probably carcinogenic in 2017. For decades, consumers were pouring boiling water into containers that could leach cancer-linked chemicals into their food. Nissin finally switched to paper cups in 2024, but only after years of consumer pressure. The company that invented instant ramen spent decades prioritizing heat retention over consumer safety. When I see Nissin on the shelf now, I see rainforest destruction and decades of styrofoam chemical exposure. That's not something I want to support. Number 3. Sapporo Ichiban. The name literally means Sapporo's #1 noodle, evoking images of the famous ramen capital of Hokkaido, Japan. The marketing suggests authentic Japanese regional cuisine. But here's the reality. Sapporo Ichiban has no particular relation to the city of Sapporo. The company only has a small sales branch there. The noodles you buy in America are manufactured in Garden Grove, California, where Sanyo Foods Corporation of America has been operating since 1978. The name was chosen by company founder Takeshi Ida after he tasted local ramen in Sapporo and wanted to recreate that experience. But recreating an experience and actually being from that place are two different things. You're not getting noodles from Hokkaido. You're getting noodles from Southern California with Japanese branding. Sanyo Foods is a family-owned company that started in Japan in 1953 making dried noodles. The American operation has been making instant noodles in California for over 45 years. They use the same industrial processes as Maruchan and Nissin, the same deep frying in palm oil, the same high-sodium seasoning packets, the same preservatives. A single serving of Sapporo Ichiban contains over 1,800 milligrams of sodium. That's nearly 80% of your recommended daily intake in one package. The noodles contain approximately 21 grams of fat per serving, much of it from palm oil used in the flash frying process. What makes this particularly misleading is the geographic marketing. Sapporo has a specific ramen tradition: miso-based broths, medium-thick wavy noodles, specific toppings. Authentic Sapporo ramen is a regional specialty with distinct characteristics. Sapporo Ichiban uses the name to sell you generic instant noodles made in California that bear little resemblance to what you'd actually eat in Sapporo. When you're paying for Sapporo Ichiban, you're not paying for Japanese regional authenticity. You're paying for California factory noodles with clever Japanese place name marketing. That's geography exploitation for profit. I need to ask you something before we continue. This research takes dozens of hours, tracking down manufacturing locations, reading scientific studies, investigating palm oil supply chains, documenting corporate practices. The instant ramen industry spends millions on marketing. They have entire departments dedicated to making you believe their products are authentic and healthy. I have a YouTube channel, and the truth. If you're tired of Japanese ramen companies misleading Scandinavian consumers, be sure to subscribe. The last 4 brands on this list are even worse, and what I'm about to reveal could completely change the way you think about instant ramen. Number 4. Myojo Foods. Myojo is one of Japan's oldest instant noodle companies, established in 1949. They actually created the first instant noodles with a separate soup packet, which became the industry standard. But here's what most Americans don't realize. Myojo became a wholly owned subsidiary of Nissin Foods in 2007. That's right. The company that makes Myojo is the same company that makes Top Ramen and Cup Noodles. When you think you're choosing between brands for variety, you're often just choosing between products made by the same corporate parent. Myojo USA was founded in Chino, California in 1991. Unlike its Japanese counterpart, which makes instant noodles, Myojo USA focuses on fresh noodles for restaurants. But the instant Myojo products you find in American stores are either imported or made under the Nissin corporate umbrella. The acquisition history is telling. In 2003, Myojo's founding family sold a 10.2% stake to Steel Partners, an activist investment firm. Steel Partners eventually acquired 23.1% and attempted a hostile takeover in 2006. Nissin stepped in as a white knight, buying out Steel Partners at a higher price. The result is that what appears to be competition in the instant noodle market is actually consolidation under a single corporate giant. This corporate shell game means that the deforestation issues, the palm oil controversies, the environmental violations we discussed with Nissin apply equally to Myojo. Same parent company, same supply chains, same problems. When you're choosing between Nissin and Myojo thinking you're supporting different companies with different practices, you're not. It's the same corporate family, with the same environmental and health concerns. That's market illusion masquerading as consumer choice. Number 5. Ace Cook. Ace Cook started as a bakery in Osaka in 1948 and eventually shifted to instant noodles in 1959. Today, they're one of the largest instant noodle makers in Japan, Vietnam, and Myanmar. Their best-selling products in Japan are Super Cup and Wonton Men. But here's what American consumers need to understand. Ace Cook products sold in the United States are primarily made in Vietnam, not Japan. Ace Cook Vietnam was established in 1993 and now operates 11 factories across Vietnam, employing 6,000 people and producing 3.4 billion servings per year. The company holds approximately 40% of Vietnam's instant noodle market. When you see Ace Cook products with Japanese branding in Asian grocery stores, you're often buying Vietnamese-manufactured noodles from a Japanese-owned company. The Hao Hao brand, Ace Cook's most popular product, is entirely Vietnamese-produced. Vietnam is the third largest instant noodle market in the world, behind China and Indonesia. Vietnamese per capita consumption reached 85 packs per year, ranking first in the world. This massive consumption has made Vietnam a manufacturing hub for the global instant noodle industry. The products contain the same concerns as other instant noodles: high sodium, palm oil, preservatives, and minimal nutritional value. A single serving can contain 5.5 grams of sodium or more than double the recommended daily intake. What makes Ace Cook's marketing deceptive is the Japanese branding on Vietnamese-manufactured products. The packaging features Japanese text, Japanese imagery, Japanese company heritage, but the noodles come from Vietnamese factories using Vietnamese ingredients. When I see Ace Cook marketed as Japanese ramen, I see geographic misdirection. You're paying for perceived Japanese quality while getting Southeast Asian mass production. That's cultural authenticity being exploited for profit margins. Number 6. Sun Noodle. Now here's where it gets interesting. Sun Noodle is actually the exception that proves the rule. Founded in Honolulu, Hawaii in 1981 by Hidehito Uki, a second-generation noodle maker from Japan, Sun Noodle represents what authentic craft ramen can be. They supply fresh noodles to premier ramen restaurants across America, including David Chang's Momofuku Noodle Bar in Manhattan. Sun Noodle makes over 600 types of fresh noodles with no additives, no preservatives, and no artificial food coloring. They have factories in Hawaii, California, New Jersey, and the Netherlands. They custom create noodles for individual restaurants, matching specific flour types to specific broth characteristics. So why is Sun Noodle on this list? Because their success exposes the fraud of the instant ramen industry. Here's the problem. Sun Noodle's retail products are fresh or frozen noodles that need refrigeration. They cost more than instant ramen. A package might run you $4 to $6 compared to 20 cents for Maruchan. Most Americans have never heard of them because they don't have the marketing budget of Nissan or the shelf placement of Maruchan. The instant ramen industry has convinced Americans that cheap, processed, preservative-laden noodles are what Japanese ramen is. Sun Noodle proves that authentic, quality noodles can be made in America by people who actually understand the craft. But most consumers never discover this option because the market is dominated by industrial manufacturers. What makes this frustrating is the false choice. Americans think they're choosing between Maruchan and Nissin for budget ramen. They don't realize that companies like Sun Noodle exist, making restaurant-quality fresh noodles available for home cooking. The instant ramen giants have so thoroughly dominated the market that authentic alternatives remain invisible. When you see Sun Noodle in specialty stores or Whole Foods, you're seeing what Japanese noodle craft can actually be. It makes the industrial instant ramen look exactly like what it is: cheap, processed food with good marketing. Number 7. Ichiran. Ichiran represents the opposite extreme. This is a Japanese ramen restaurant chain from Fukuoka that opened in New York in 2016 after 10 years of trying to enter the American market. They're famous for their solo dining booths where you eat facing a curtain, focusing entirely on the ramen. They import key components, including their broth and spicy red sauce, directly from Japan. Here's the problem. Ichiran charges $19 to $25 for a bowl of ramen that costs less than 1,000 yen, about $7, in Japan. That's nearly triple the price for the same product. Reviews consistently note this disparity. Customers on TripAdvisor write that the price is 3x as high, with wait times 3x as long. Portion sizes are described as smaller than Japanese locations. One reviewer noted they paid for extras that never arrived. Another complained that a soft-boiled egg for $3 came unpeeled in its shell. The authenticity is real. Ichiran is genuinely Japanese, genuinely from Fukuoka, genuinely using imported ingredients. But the American operation exploits that authenticity to charge premium prices that would be considered outrageous in Japan. A bowl of ramen in Tokyo typically costs 800 to 1,200 yen, roughly $6 to $9. Ichiran in New York charges $19 for the base bowl before any additions. Add an egg, extra noodles, extra chashu pork, and extra toppings, and you're easily approaching $30 for what Japanese people consider everyday affordable food. One delivery order review noted that the portion contained barely any pork and felt like a free sample from Costco, while charging triple Japanese prices. What makes this exploitation rather than simple market pricing is the marketing. Ichiran sells the experience of authentic Japanese ramen, the solo booths, the customization forms, the cultural mystique. They're not just selling food, they're selling Japan, and they're charging American consumers 3 times the going rate to experience it. Labor costs in New York are approximately 50% higher than Tokyo, which might justify some price difference, but not a 300% markup. When I see Ichiran's prices, I see cultural authenticity being weaponized for profit extraction. Real Japanese ramen is working-class food, affordable and accessible. Ichiran turned it into a luxury experience for Americans willing to pay premium prices for perceived authenticity. So what should you actually eat? The answer depends on what you're actually looking for. If you want authentic Japanese ramen, seek out local ramen restaurants that make their own noodles and broths. Many American cities now have excellent ramen shops run by trained chefs. The cost is typically $12 to $18 for a quality bowl, less than Ichiran, and infinitely better than instant. If you want to make ramen at home, look for fresh or frozen noodles from companies like Sun Noodle. Pair them with quality broth, which you can make yourself or purchase from specialty stores. The total cost might be $6 to $8 per serving, but you're getting actual food with actual nutrition. If budget is your primary concern, understand what you're actually eating. Instant ramen is not Japanese food. It's processed food with Japanese marketing. The health consequences of regular consumption include metabolic syndrome, cardiovascular disease, hypertension, and exposure to petroleum-derived preservatives. Use only half the seasoning packet to reduce sodium. Add vegetables and protein to increase nutritional value. And limit consumption to occasional rather than regular. The 68% increased risk of metabolic syndrome applies to people eating instant noodles twice or more per week. Consider that the cheapest option isn't always the most economical. Medical costs from diet-related health conditions far exceed any savings from 20-cent noodle packages. Be skeptical of geographic marketing. Japanese names, Japanese characters, and images of Japan on packaging tell you nothing about where the product was actually manufactured or how it compares to authentic Japanese cuisine. If you made it this far, you now know more about the American instant ramen industry than most consumers ever will. Smash that like button, share this video with someone who still thinks cheap instant ramen is Japanese food, and subscribe because I'm going after more industries that exploit American consumers with misleading marketing. What instant ramen brand are you going to stop buying after watching this? Drop a comment below.